Welcome to the Jedi Ranger. I'm JohnBerry555 and I'm continuing my series of MASH retro reviews with Season 3, Episode 19, Aid Station. So the premise of this episode is that a nearby aid station is short on medical personnel because of enemy shelling. In fact, when Hawkeye, Margaret, and Klinger get there, as they're the ones who are volunteered / voluntold to go provide temporary relief, the Red Cross has been blown off. Things are not great there at all. And I should say the scene for choosing who's going to go it reveals some stuff about the different characters. Margaret, she volunteers instantly. Between Hawkeye, Trapper, and Frank, none of them wants to volunteer, so they decide to draw straws. But they don't have straws, so they use leftover sausages from breakfast. And it was either Hawkeye or Trapper quips that they knew that they wanted for eating. I'm pretty sure it was Hawkeye because he's the one who was probably doing the most complaining in the introductory scene of the episode during breakfast. And then for Klinger, well, they just grabbed a list of all the corpsmen, specifically their personnel cards, and they had Father McKay just pick one at random. So different ways of doing it, but that does reveal some stuff. So officers are to volunteer, or when lack of volunteer, to be drawn straws, and then the enlisted are just told that you're going, which is very much probably more in line with how the army actually operates if I would have to take a guess. But of course, the main part of this episode is that our three characters, Hawkeye, Margaret, and Klinger, learn a newfound respect for each other, and they each get a scene before they head off where we get a little insight into the different characters. Klinger's basically given radar instructions on what to do should he not come back, i.e. disperse the Klinger collection. And also Klinger complains about that a shrink that he saw, and I think he uses a shrink instead of calling him a psychiatrist, because that psychiatrist also had dresses. And Klinger's complaining about how hard it is to get out of the army when even the doctors are crazy. Yeah, that would make some sense. The army's just crazy in general, I would presume. And then there's a scene between Margaret and Frank, and Margaret's basically, being truthful to Frank for honest, and then at the very end of it, after saying that, she knows that he'll never leave his wife, yada yada yada, and then eventually says, if you lay another hand on a nurse, basically threatening him, and then gave him a big kiss. Which is kind of interesting, but I think that whole mantra there, everything that's there, is really showing that Margaret is very much connected with the army, but she still is human and still has humans' wants and desires. And then we probably get the most heartfelt one, and that's between Trapper and Hawkeye. Hawkeye, first in the joking ways, Hawkeye tells Trapper, don't see any other doctors while I'm away, and Trapper in the same manner responds, knock first in to give me 5 minutes. But then Hawkeye gets a little more serious by stating that he has his will in his footlocker, and then he leaves then he lightens the tension by saying that all his possessions would be given to the Benjamin Franklin Pierce Memorial Brothel, relieving tension. But that's very much in Hawkeye's character, Trapper's as well. To relieve the tension of things going on, they joke. But when we actually get to the aid station, they get right to work and all that, and have to deal with the not so great conditions, but the heart of it, in my opinion, is that all three of those characters, they come out of it with a better respect for each other. Now, does this always show in future episodes? Not really, but that's MASH for you. But within this episode, they gain a new respect for each other, and Hawkeye's not complaining about the food at the end, but Frank is. And I think that can also be taken as symbolizing how the experience at the aid station for all three of them has changed them. But of course, it's MASH, so that continuity doesn't really stick, especially because this is early MASH. But that's really what I got to say. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.